Welcome, 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 everybody, to my weekly live stream. This is practicing ear training. Thank you. I'm getting coffee, which I need. Cheers, everyone. We're coming to you live on YouTube as well as live on Facebook, and we are here to practice the ears. So if you want to get fearless ears, join in and we will do some practicing. The way I like to approach ear training is in multiple paths. Lots of people are doing faithfully these little ear training apps that go, oh, what is this? It's a major third, major second, and so forth. There's utility in those apps, but there is so much more that we can do in order to be more practical in our ear training pursuits. So we can ditch the tab and rely on our ears when we're transcribing, when we're playing with others. And so I like to approach ear training in multiple paths. There's a course that I created. It's called Ear Confidence and 6 Paths to Fearless Ears. You can check that out below. And we will practice a couple of things out of this course today. So I hope you got your ears ready and tuned up. I'm going to try to hide my bass today. I'm going to allow you all to see my fretboard. If you are there on YouTube, please give me a quick thumbs up that it's working. If you're on Facebook, please let me know that we are live and Phantom Power is on and everything is as it should be. So quick comment would be super from somebody, just a thumbs up so we know it's working. And you can hear the piano, you can hear the bass, and we got backing tracks coming in a second. All right, I see there are some people online. I don't see any comments yet, but okay, thank you very much, Scott. Appreciate it. YouTube's checking in. Facebook, give me a thumbs up if you could. And all right, so let's start. I always like to warm up my ears with my students a little bit with something I call sound classes. For folks who have a really hard time hearing different sounds and you feel like, oh gosh, my ears, I don't even know where to start. This is a great way to do it. And so I want to give you a couple. I'm gonna quiz you. If you've watched this stream before, then I like contrast. So if you guessed wrong, I'm gonna move on and not wait for the chat. But if you guessed wrong, then still put it in there, and I will try to catch up with you and play you the contrast. Because if you make a mistake, that's another thing I don't like about these apps. When you don't get it right, it just goes, didn't get it right. But it doesn't give you the chance to correct it, because if you have something that you're hearing as something else, the best way to learn is to then go, great, that's a great opportunity for me to rectify this. I seem to be misplacing my major seconds with my flat sevenths or what have you. And then we can look into it and you can learn something. So here we go. Sound classes. I'm going to contrast between harsh or tense, as well as harmonious, beautiful, the love song stuff. Okay, so what is this? Harsh or tense or love song stuff? I play it 3 times. Harsh or tense or love song stuff? Is that the murderer coming around the corner, or is that the serenade you want to play to your loved one? Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to play this also a little lower, because range is a big deal. Also, instruments, it's a big deal for the perception of your ears. So here is the same sound again in a different range. And I think down there you can hear it even better, that it is harsh. Contrast that. This was a minor second. There are 4 sounds that I classify as harsh. Those are the minor second, the major second, and as well as the major seventh and the minor seventh. They are inversions of each other. If you know the theory, it really helps. That's one of the reasons why I love teaching inversions, because the sound classes are the same. So yeah, lots of you guys got it right. Okay, how about this one here? Let's see. How about we do think of a good one. Think of a good one. Is that harsh or beautiful? Harmonious. Harsh or beautiful? Good to see you guys. Hey, Walter. What's up? Hey, Gwen. Nice to see you. What's that? harsh or harmonious and beautiful? So I'm going to give it away. That was the love song stuff. And that was a major six. And sixes are inversions of thirds. So everything that's six and thirds related is going to sound pretty, harmonious, beautiful. Minor six, major six, major third, minor third. Right? That's all pretty. It's all beautiful, pretty. One more to warm up. What is this one? Harsh or harmonious? Harsh or harmonious? Harsh or harmonious? Okay, that was a major seven. It's kind of close to the octave. You know, you feel like this pull towards the octave. I may have mentioned that last time, but sometimes I hear people trying to find the note, right? And let's say the note is this, and they march up the bass, you know, they try to find it. And they go, oh, that sounds worse and worse, right? It's sounding worse and worse. And right before they would have it, namely half another step up, they go, oh, a whole different area of the bass, as if it were somehow different there, right? As if you have different notes there. So that points towards not really knowing how the bass works and also how ear training works, or how finding a note works. Because sometimes as you get closer and closer and closer and closer, it's going to sound really harsh for a second, but that means it's getting warmer, actually. So that is our warm-up. As for the sound classes, all right, I want to go a little bit into major and minor today. When somebody says major, this could be a triad, this could be a scale, right? We talk about major a lot without qualifying what really it is that we mean. There is major triads, let's say, and there's minor triads. And what I'm going to do today is, here is a track that's actually in Mixolydian. We're going to work with that a little bit today. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play, because Mixolydian is kind of interesting. You know, I told about two sound classes today. I talked about harmonious and harsh, right? But there are two more sound classes. One is the open sound class, which would be like your fifths, your octaves, your prime, unison, same notes, right? But then you also have the bluesy sound class, right? And so we're going to get a little bit bluesy today. We're going to talk about blues soloing, like what kind of material you could use to solo on a blues, for example. And so we're going to get into that a little bit. And what I want to start out with, this is a now I'm talking soloing, okay? So I want to be clear about that, because if you have a groove like this, hope you can all hear this. This is a Mixolydian track, right? Kind of a bit floaty, so we can really focus on the ears, right? Right? It's Mixolydian, so it has that that sound of the tritone in it. Right? You can distinguish it from the major scale by it being a flat 7 there on top. So that's not it. It's right. Okay, so this is Mixolydian. And the reason why I chose Mixolydian and talking about major and minor is because I want to tune your ears to the fact that we can actually, when we solo, not so much when we groove. When you groove, your responsibility is to lay down that chord. And when you solo, you could also play a minor third over this. You could play a blues scale over it, which has a minor third in it. So if all of that is over your head, don't worry about it. Focus on the sound differences. So I'm here. I'm playing a major triad over this. Just major triad. Okay, I'm just playing major triads. Now contrast that with this. That minor third, that F versus an F sharp. Might be better to use the dark fretboard, actually. kind of bright, isn't it? So when you play the minor third, then you get this bluesy sound. There's a rub. There's a heck of a rub because the chord has an F sharp in it, and I'm laying that over it. So F sharp to F, right? And depending on which octave it is, it turns out to be a major 7 or a flat 9. So it's a pretty risky note. But our ears are so tuned into the bluesy kind of sounds that we have come to accept that and actually like this kind of rub. Now, if I just play it, try it, it sounds kind of odd, doesn't it? Because we're usually not used to it. I mean, I could use that as a solo. Right, I could use that. I could at least start a solo with that. But then what I would want to do is actually probably go into the entire blues scale, where there's also my flat 7, right? And if I play the entire blues scale, not just the minor pentatonic, I get also that flat 5 in there, right? So, and that's a very familiar sound. Now keep in mind that chord is a D7 that has a major third. When I'm grooving, I should play that major third because I steal every soloist's thunder if I groove like this, right? It gets lost in the shuffle. Right? If I do that, then the soloist's blue notes, I already did them, so they're not as interesting anymore. And what's cool is my major third down there on the bottom and the solo is going, you know. So I hope you can hear that. What I'm going to do now is, blues is such an interesting thing. There's so many different ways how you can bring out these blue notes and these bluesy notes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play back to back. Let's say improvising using a major pentatonic, or improvising using a minor pentatonic, and then improvising using a blues scale, which is the minor pentatonic plus flat 5, and then using the major pentatonic, which is a major pentatonic with the flat 3. So if all of that is over your head, you just need my theory courses. That's all. My book or this course will hook you up. Theory, becomes very relatable and applicable if you use it right away. Victor Wooten coins this beautiful saying, music is a language. And when you learn a new word in a new language, the first thing you do is you use it in a sentence. To me, improvisation exercises is doing exactly that. I want to try this out. The major blues scale, what does it sound like? Let's use it in a sentence. That's the sound of the major blues scale. Now, I'm just sort of playing notes. I'm not creating a solo with an arc and with an idea. I just want to get a little bit of a flavor of that sound. Okay, I will lay it over proper blues changes in a minute, and then you can hear the whole thing in the context of an actual blues. Again, as a reminder, the scale that's running is mixolydian. So that was me improvising with the major blues scale. And the major blues scale is a major pentatonic with the flat 3. Actually, let me have you guess. Is this just a pentatonic or is that the major blues scale? I'm going to hide my fretboard. So did I use the flat 3 to make it the blues scale, the major blues scale? Yes or no? Pop it in the chat. Here's the contrast. It's really hard to not play the flat 7, sorry. when you cut me loose soloing, all the other notes want to come in as well. So I played a couple of flat sevens there. Sorry about that. But essentially, this was now the blues scale. Yeah, major blues scale. Yeah, major blues scale. With that beautiful rubbing sound, right? Okay, now let's do the same exercise with the minor pentatonic and the minor blues scale. Here comes one or the other. You tell me, is that the minor pentatonic or the blues scale? I'll play you the other one in contrast. Yep, you guys got it. So at first I played just the minor pentatonic, and then I played the entire blues scale over it. So you hear the addition of those bluesy notes, right? Flat 5 in one scale, flat 3 in the other scale. Now, what does that sound like when you put that over an entire blues? Here's a blues in A. I believe it's a quick change, so it goes to the 4 right away. Okay, so here's the thing about the blues. It's why it's great to use it as a teaching tool, or, it's also such a great sound. Let me just get a little bit of a faster track here. This one is a bit on the slow side. Blues 411. So what in A, here we go. So what this does is essentially, and by the way, I also always like showing people that I am using a program called Transcribe in order to organize my my sounds, because we want to learn how to transcribe songs from a recording, and this tool is just absolutely brilliant because you can navigate to certain spots, you can zoom in, you can pick out a certain note, you can loop it, you can change the key. There's so many things you can do with this tool, and it really helps just in terms of navigation. If you try to pick something up from a YouTube, it's like, how are you going to get that little arrow there exactly to the spot where you need it? So this tool makes it so easy. You can zoom in, you can slow down, and it is a fantastic tool to help you get your ears going. Let me show you where I made a tutorial about it. I love it so much, but this is where you can get this program. It's very well worth the expense. There's also a free one called Audacity, and the Amazing Slow Downer does similar things. I love Transcribe because it has the best algorithms. When you change keys, when you slow down, there's a lot of math involved, and some programs start sounding a little wobbly. And this one's really intuitive, has some great key commands. So I highly recommend it. If you want to check out my tutorial, it's on my blog. And let's see. I have to search for it in the search box, though, I think. Okay, so I was going to play the blues, and I was going to improvise I'm going to stay, just so that you guys can see as well as hear what I'm doing. I'm just staying in one area. I'm not going up and down. I'm just staying in one area. So this blues is in A. What are the choices I have? Well, I have lots of choices. I could play Mixolydian, right? But if I play Mixolydian, I have to change with the changes. So when the one chord is A, or all know the blues is the 4-1-1 of music, how I like to explain it. Here's my shortcut for the blues, okay? Here's my shortcut for the blues. It's really a little bit, how would you say, crude, but it helps. Here's how this works. So it's the 4-1-1 of music, right? When you need the blues, you call the blues hotline. It's 411. So you dial, it just called, right? The blues just called 411. So it's 1-4-1-1. That's the first 4 bars. Then you have 4-4-1-1, and then you have 5-4-1-1 or 5-4-1-5, or it's the stuff in the end. But that's the general quick change blues. Okay. So 1, dial the number 411. 4, dial the number 411. 5, dial the number 411. So there are 3 changes involved: the 1 chord, the 4 chord, and the 5 chord. And when I improvise, for example, using Mixolydian, I have to change with every single chord change. And the blues is not diatonic, so I'm not inside a, strictly speaking, where the 1 chord is a major 7 and the 4 chord is a major 7 and the 5 chord is a dominant 7, which is what strictly diatonic means. It's mixed modal. So it is mixed modal because they're all Mixolydian sounds, and we're just putting them next to each other in that sort of chord progression. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to improvise just using, let's say, just using the Mixolydian scales. Doesn't sound very bluesy, but definitely checks all the right notes and will sound very inside. Check it. I'll bring that back here. That was essentially just, this is not really a groove. It's not really a solo. This is an ear training exercise. I want to give you a lot of notes and not just, sit on the root a lot and then play some fills. But essentially, I was playing Mixolydian in A, then in D, and then in E. So I was just moving it up and down. Okay, perfect. So what I did, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play drastically different. I'm going to play the blues scale over the entire thing. And the lovely thing about the blues is you can pick, right now I have to pick 3 scales, right? A Mixolydian, D Mixolydian, E Mixolydian. Okay, all right, not that bad, but I'm just saying. But if you were just starting out with soloing, you don't want to worry about the changes at all, or we just love the sound of that beautiful tradition, then you can just use 1 scale over the entire thing. You don't have to worry about the 1 chord, 4 chord, 5 chord. You can stay in that scale the entire time because the notes just happen to work. Some work better than others, but essentially it works. And what I'm using is the A minor blues scale, or just known as the A blues scale. So that's a minor pentatonic. For those of you who know my fretboard tricks, this shape I call the upside down boot, because it looks like a boot, right? And it's always nice to think in shapes. You don't have to worry about the notes. You just know where they are. It's this, the shape 1-4, 1-3, 1-3, 1-3, right? And then for the blues scale, we are also putting that guy in. It's twice in there, right? And now you have the blues scale. So it's a minor pentatonic plus the flat 5. And that works over the entire chord changes. In theory, and some work better than others, so use your ears, but essentially you get a sound. You get the bluesy sound because you get the so-called blue notes, which are flat 3, flat 5, and flat 7. So listen for those notes. I'm going to play them. Sorry, I just changed. I'm not supposed to change. I'm going to stay in that 1 scale because you could change. That works too, right? So I'm not going to change. Just in the 5 chord. And so forth. So you hear, this is the sound of the blues scale. Okay, blues scale. Contrast that again with, let's say I'm going to do the major pentatonic. Now, here's the thing. Minor blues scale, you can play over the entire changes, as I said. You do not need to worry about switching for the chords. As soon as I switch to the major blues scale, you have to change because those notes don't work so well otherwise. With the major blues scale, I don't know how you would describe that sound. I guess you would describe it. Can you change the view so in full screen? Certainly. Here you go. How would you describe it? It sounds a little more bluesy if you just use the blues scale to me. And it sounds a little more inside if you use the changing scales. So now I'm changing, right? Pentatonic. Scale with the flat third. that difference. I have to change every single time. And it sounds much less, like the lingo does. Now, let me, this is not a shuffle. It's not the bluesiest blues track that I'm having here, but let me just show you how you would actually build, because I don't want to just be like in ear training land and forget musicality. So I played a lot of notes there. That was kind of like noodling a scale up and down, so to speak. But what I want to do just now is just sort of come up with a little solo. And this is a great idea for those of you who have not a lot of experience soloing. I've had students that come in, I just don't know what to play. I'm like, okay, you're going to play exactly that sentence. And what I mean by that is this: I don't know what to play. I have no idea. This is so weird. I don't know what to play. This is really weird. I have no idea, no idea, no idea, no idea. I do not know what I am just supposed to do. I don't know. So it's essentially, what in the beginning oftentimes happens is that we play notes the whole time. This was actually too much also, just trying to make a point with the saying. But you could, if you tell a story, which is really all that the blues is. I mean, the blues is, you could say so many different things. It's a set of chord changes. It's a theory thing, mixed modal scales, but it's a way of life. It's a big, important part of history. It is, the blues is a way of life, you could say. It's a philosophy. So it's so much more than just a bundle of notes and the scale. So I want to make sure to point that out. But the blues is just such a great tool for helping with soloing, because it tells a story. And when you have huge trepidation, don't know how to start actually using your words, to tell this story, works quite well. I don't know what to play. Wait. This is kind of awkward. Wait. And then I just try somewhere. It gets a little better. And all of a sudden, I can improvise. And I have students do that without, and again, a shuffle would work much better, but I have students say the words before they even play, right? And then we just set them to that scale, and you get a little bit of an idea of what that could feel like. And then you got a beginning, and then you got an in. And, oftentimes when people say for soloing, there's this whole chord scale theory that we use in jazz, and all of that is wonderful and useful. But we should not forget that we are telling a story, whether it's blues or any other kind of solo. It should be something that's not just note-based, but something that connects with us emotionally. So this brings me back to my sound classes, so today was a bit of an excursion into the blues, into the bluesy sound class. Anybody have any question? Yeah, a lot of, that's Andrew is saying Jimi Hendrix would get his guitar solos a lot like that. Absolutely. A lot of people take that all the way and actually do use their voice. So absolutely. Teo Berberich is one of my favorites in that sense, as a bass player who scats while he solos. Absolutely amazing. So any questions real quick before I wind this down? There is a delay, so I'll wait for a second, have another sip of coffee. Hope you're all doing well out there today. Okay, I will wind this down for today. You can find me at arispacblog.com. You can find more about my ear training course right here. Where is it? Here. And you can also get ready. I'm going to show you something, because I'm playing the cover girl, right? And I have gotten the first test prints of the new book. So you guys are the first ones to see it. This is the new book, The Pattern System for the Bass Player, written by myself and Wolf Wein, my teacher, husband, partner. And it's quite the piece of work. So we are extremely proud and happy for it. Watch out for an Indiegogo campaign starting soon. We will tell you lots more about what it is, what it does. And thank you all very much for joining. As always, my Friday stream, if you have any wishes and requests, please email them to me. I cannot do songs because Facebook will unfortunately ban us. That was my original idea. That's what I wanted to do, but they do not allow me to actually use transcribe and show you a song and then go for all that. All right. Thanks everybody for joining. Have a great rest of your day. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Stay safe and keep training your ears. Cheers.